one of the most legendary African-American women who is showing the way in pioneering for the arts on the screen. We need to support her and let her know that we got her back and we support her. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage right now our Image Award winner, Miss Viola Davis.
Thank you. I am so honored to be here tonight and to be given this awesome task of giving the closing remarks. And I have to say that I got writer's block. And I got writer's block, I realized, because I couldn't wrap my mind around motivating any African American to vote. There is something in my mind that cannot conceive, after everything that we have been through in history, to not vote. The graveyards are filled with bodies of people who gave their lives so we can enjoy this meal, so that we can breathe air in this room. And then I allowed my mind to open. And I asked an honest question. Why wouldn't we vote? Why? And it occurred to me, as James Baldwin said, is that the price of the ticket in becoming an American is to give up one's identity. It's to somehow forget who you are. We kind of suffer from memory loss. You know, it's who you are and who you want to be, and where you are and where you're going. And I think that there's something about getting in that voting booth and voting your heart and your conscience, that you have to absolutely remember who you are and where you've been. You know, every time I'm asked to go on a red carpet or do an interview, I have, I think, a really blessed job, because I get to tell my story time and time again. And in telling my story, what I realize is that there is no earthly reason why I should be here. I am a child of poverty. And I say that time and time again because I don't wear it as a badge, but I do wear it as a testimony of survival. I was born on Singleton Plantation in South Carolina, and my grandmother delivered me because my mom said we didn't have any money for you to be delivered at a hospital. And then the midwife was late, so they even saved the $25 because my grandmother delivered me in 1965. And then my father, who had a 5th grade education, and my mother, who had an 8th grade education, moved to Central Falls, Rhode Island, because that was the only place that had racetrack, and my father groomed and trained horses for the racetrack. That's all we knew how to do. And that's where we were raised, in abject poverty. Abject poverty meaning no plumbing, meaning no food, never having a phone, freezing cold temperatures all the time, and the only black family in Central Falls, Rhode Island. And so how did I get from there to here? And I could tell you for a fact that it is a lie when people say they got to wherever they got to alone. My mother, with all of her malaprops and even with maybe a little lack of confidence, always said, I spoke at Brown University because she spearheaded the whole Head Start program. She fought for welfare reform. The reason why Central Falls has a health clinic now is because she said, I fought for that, you know, Viola. Because there was something in her that understood that voting and politics mean nothing if it's not making your life better. And so here I am, at 46, about to be 47, and I look at the expansiveness of my life, being raised in a community where we were the only black family, and being called names all the time, and really believing in my heart that I was less than. Really believing that it was a stigma to be black and to be poor. And I believe that the moment I took my wig off at the Oscars, which in and of itself is not a big deal, but there was something about taking the wig off and wearing my hair that made me step into who I was.
Well, go ahead on.
And the power of who I was. The power of the singular idea of being a black woman of a certain hue and not allowing anybody or anything to define me except for God and myself.
All right. Well.
And that really is what it's all about. That's where it starts. Is it all culminating? Your past culminates to who you are today, dictates who you are today, good and bad, all the nooks and crannies and obstacles, all of those things. And the realization, being a black woman in Hollywood, which is a daunting task in and of itself, let me tell you, is once you get to the dream, you realize you deserve the dream. You deserve not just 12.5% of the pie just because you're 12.5% of the population. You deserve the whole pie. And the power of that vote is just that. It's the understanding that the maid, the slave, the mother with the 8th grade education with the malaprops, the father with the 5th grade education who could only groom horses, the slave with the scars on his back that are keloid, the sharecropper, that all of them lived and died and probably had short-lived dreams so that you could have yours. And I feel like a little kid when I say this, but the bottom line is that you owe them.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because all you have to do is step into the voting booth.
Amen.
That's all you have to do.
Exactly.
You don't have to be a Fannie Lou Hamer, okay? Who got beaten with a blackjack in a jailhouse in Winona, Mississippi. Beaten within an inch of her life. Was sterilized without her consent. And still, she fought to vote, to just vote, to feel like she mattered, to feel like she was a human being on this earth, and that everything that God and the Constitution of the United States promised her, she wanted. You don't have to do that. All you got to do is vote. Now, I have to say that in doing the help and shooting it in Mississippi, you know, James Baldwin also said that, you know, because he loves America and he thinks it's the greatest country on earth, he feels like he has the right to criticize it. And so I feel like I have that right to criticize it too. And I absolutely felt in the shooting of that movie just anger. Just the anger of being not recognized as fully human. I mean, shooting near the Tallahassee River where Emmett Till's body was found, and a lot more than Emmett Till's body, let me tell you, because we heard the stories in the shooting of the film. And being near Indianola, Mississippi, which is the birthplace of the KKK, I felt the ghosts of the past. And I have to say that every time I went back to the apartment that they gave me, I just want to cry or kill somebody. But I have to say that what that film helped me to do was what any artistic endeavor professes to do, doesn't always do, but this one did, is that it helped me to heal. And that's what it's really about. You know, they say forgiveness is giving up all hope of a different past. Our past is what it is. People have died. People have gotten psychological scars beyond repair. But I feel like I feel about any failure that I've ever had in my life, any devastation I've had in my life, that what it has afforded me is the understanding that we are on this earth for the experience of just being and feeling alive. And life is about all of it. All of it teaches us something. The failures and the joys, the doctor, the maid, the people who have died before us, all of it culminates into a life that gives you the experience to feel more compassion, to understand that every bit of accomplishment that you've ever gotten, you've earned. And isn't that a beautiful thing to take with you through this life? Listen, I gotta use it like that because at some point, you're not gonna be on this earth anymore. And I have to believe that my time here was worth it. So I have to turn all of our history around and make it work for me. So now we're in 2012, and we no longer have to be lynched and beaten and prodded to go into that voting booth. That's right. So what's going to stop us? You know, the future is like heaven. Everyone wants to exalt it, but no one wants to go there now. Well, the future is here. The future is now. Your chance to make a difference is now. We have our first black president now. Now is the time while you're breathing. And I'm sure Fannie Lou Hamer would appreciate it. You know, she said when she was asked to join the committee to vote, to start the whole kind of activist part of her life. She said, I guess if I had had any sense, I'd have been a little scared. But what was the point of being scared? The only thing they could do was kill me. And it kind of seemed like they've been trying to do that a little bit at a time since I could remember. The one thing that we have that not a lot of subcultures in this country have is that we understand what it means to have nothing. And we understand what it means to give our life for something bigger than ourselves. So we are going into that voting booth with the greatest gift that God could ever give us, and that's wisdom. So the future is now. And I thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to expound and to encourage. And I'd like to thank Vic Bullock for even asking me to do this and feeling that I was even worthy to do this. I don't get an opportunity all the time to do anything that's bigger than me sometimes, you know, on a lot of red carpets and a lot of makeup, and sometimes it gets really hard just promoting oneself. And this is one time that it feels really good to be bigger than me. Thank you.